Welcome back to the Southern Endurance Series. My name is Kriya Gangyo. We are coming to you live from Port Elizabeth for round 9 of SAGT. It is going to be a very exciting round, 1 hour of phenomenal racing, and as you can see, I'm doing things a little bit different this morning. I'm starting from the back of the grid, and I'm going to be chatting to some of the drivers that are going to be putting pressure on our front runners. Let's move down the grid as we chat to Nick Davidson. Now, Nick Davidson has a long history in driving, in racing in South Africa, and he is currently as a guest driver, if you want to call it, with Chalso Scribanti. Nick, welcome to SAE. It's great to have you with us. Tell us a little bit about your drive. You're currently leading the championship in Super Cup.
Yeah, that's correct. We VW have a series there, which is a GTC and Super Cup, and I participate in the Super Cup. And they have a Masters division there, which I'm currently leading. Quite fortunate, I suppose, to do that. And yeah, Mr. Scribante invited me to come and drive with him today. I think what they want is they're like dangling a carrot. They give me a little taste of something nice, and yeah, well, let's see. But I mean, you guys are putting on a real show here. It's really amazing.
So we're going to be seeing you in your own car on the grid pretty soon, is what you're saying, right?
Does your father own a brewery? Does he have money? I'm looking for a sponsor.
Does it have to be a brewery partner? I'm sure we can hook you up with something. I know the Scribanti family really well, and I'm sure you do too.
But they drink wine. I like beer.
Well, Nick, tell us a little bit about racing in SAGT today. Obviously, you're going to want to put some pressure on the other drivers.
My plan is just obviously to look after the car and bring the car back in one piece, and yeah, have fun. I've had 3 sessions in the car yesterday, and yeah, they're getting better and better. And as I say, it's not my car, so I don't want to buy it. So not yet.
Right.
So that's it.
Okay, cool. Well, thank you very much, and best of luck for today.
Thanks for having us. Thank you. Thank you.
That's Nick Davidson. He's driving with Chalso Scribanti in this beautiful machine that you see behind me. So it's going to be quite an interesting one there. He comes with a wealth of experience, so he's really going to put some pressure on some of the other drivers. And one particular driver that he's going to put pressure on is Silvio Scribanti, who I'm trying to find. He's down there talking strategy with his brother, Aldo Scribanti, who's a little further down the grid. And I see him walking towards me. Did you try and elude me today? You were trying to sneak away from me.
I thought you were, Kriya. I mean, just because I'm not on the front row, you can't just ignore me.
Why do you think I came to the back? Because you're here. So tell me a little bit about what happened yesterday. It was a stressful situation. Lost your clutch in the formation lap. And then you managed to at least get a drive with your dad's car.
Yeah, actually, I'd got undressed and was in my casuals, and then Byron ran up to me and said, get dressed, get dressed. Car's on the grid. We're going to take my dad's car. And it was, in strategy-wise, I think it was a good move. You know, at least I secured 29 points. It's not the first or the second I was hoping for, but, you know, it's points. So it takes a little bit of pressure off me to be able to attack now a little bit harder for the win. Ideally, I want to get wins. You know, if I can get another 1 or 2 wins, I mean, that's what I'm looking for. It's game, set, match.
All right, I have a double-up question here because we are moving down the grid. So this one quite quickly. Obviously, the guys had to do quite a lot of the work in the car. How's the car running? And you've got an extra 30 kilograms of success ballast from yesterday that is in your car today. How is that going to affect you trying to get through the pack?
Well, obviously, you know, I've got 5 or 6 cars that are much slower than me. You can't force them off the road, you get penalties. So you've got to be a gentleman and drive around them, and unfortunately it takes time. But nevertheless, I mean, my confidence is up. You know, I've got a hope, I think, for a safety car and just time my pit stop around that safety car, precisely like my brother did to me yesterday. And
good thing we practiced the strategy yesterday.
Yeah, and I mean, you know, that's where you can make up tens of seconds, you know, and that's what I'll be hoping for in the race. And look, a win is not completely out of it, but we most certainly will be trying for it.
All right, well, best of luck, and we'll see you on the podium later.
Thank you. Thank you.
All right, let me see if I walk down the grid. There's one particular gentleman that I wanted to chat to. I spoke to him a little bit yesterday, but couldn't get into his history, and that's Andrew Colbert. Andrew, you are a well-known driver in South African racing, and it's so good to see you back on the grid.
Yeah, thank you. I mean, it's been a long, long break, but I'm loving it. I had the most amazing race last night, and I'm just over the moon, yeah.
You had a little bit of a touch and go moment yesterday, and I'm sure it must have been a moment as you went off the track.
Yeah, I'm definitely still a little bit rusty, a little bit unfit as well, I'm afraid. So, yeah, I don't really know what happened, but a bit of a round and roundabout, but no damage to the car, no damage to me, and I still loved every minute of it. So
Speaking about your car, it took quite a while for this car to get onto a track in South Africa. Maybe give the viewers at home a little bit of a history of what happened to it.
Well, it got shipped out of Germany just as the Russians went to war, and all the container ships didn't know where to go, so it's hovered around in the ocean for about 6 weeks, I believe, until we've eventually got to Durban. So it was quite a job getting it here.
And then it went somewhere else in between. Didn't it go to a South American country or something along those lines?
I actually lost track of monitoring it. You know, there's an app that you can monitor where the ships are, and eventually I thought, I don't know where this thing's going anymore, so I stopped watching. But I think it went to South America somewhere.
So pretty much this car has traveled more than most people in the year.
Definitely more than I have since COVID, yeah.
All right, what is your strategy for today?
Well, you know, yesterday with the spin, it sort of was a bit disappointing because I was having a very good race and I was right up there in the mix. Hopefully today I'll keep it on the tar. And yeah, try and catch up some of my colleagues over here. So my mates here, I've got a bit of payback to a little Ferrari as well. So yeah, we'll see how it goes.
Oh, the challenge has been set. We're going to have to see what happens during the race. All the best, Andrew.
Thank you very much.
All right, I'm going to move down the track a little bit. I want to get to Mo Mia. Mo had an amazing performance yesterday. He finished on top of the podium. He was saying to me before the race started that he just wants to go out there and have a little bit of fun. And the fun turned in to a great podium.
You know, thanks. When the visor goes down, the red mist comes out, and everything is a race. So yeah, it was an enjoyable evening yesterday. I think racing at night had its own little challenges, but yeah, we pulled through okay. I was quite happy with myself in this car here. Marius was nice enough to let me use his car, so getting used to it, and yeah. You know, any day at the racetrack is a good day, right?
Yeah.
And we truly are fortunate, you know, to be able to get out here. And obviously, once again, thanks to Isak and Golile, you know, for all their efforts in this, and Eric and yourselves, make it a great spectacle. I went around on my warm-up lap. A lot of people here, so after COVID seems to be attracting a bit of crowd, which is always nice. You feel like a real racing car driver then.
You are a real racing car driver.
Yeah, but anyway, look, you know, looking forward to mixing it up with the guys today, and I think just try and keep it neat and tidy through, you know, and you know, pull through the hour. It's going to be a lot hotter today. It's nice weather. But yeah, really looking forward to it and trying to understand the car, you know.
I would ask you more questions, but you've answered all my questions already.
My wife always says I got a big mouth, so.
No, you've done very well. But thank you and all the best for today.
Okay, cool. Cheers. Take care. Hey?
Definitely one to watch out is Mo Mia as he makes his way through the pack. I have a sneaky suspicion there's going to be a podium for him today as well in his class. Standing here with Sun Midley. Sun, it was an unfortunate one for you yesterday because pretty much 3 laps before the end of the race, you didn't complete.
Yeah, my car got stuck in number 3 gear. I think I went over a bump and upset something. But fortunately, it wasn't a big job, but it's something to be tightened and it's back to normal.
Yeah.
I tested it this morning, it's okay, yeah.
I was chatting to your mechanic a little bit in the garage earlier. He literally said to me it was kind of like an air valve that you didn't know was in the car to begin with.
I'm not supposed to know all that stuff. My job is just driving the car.
All right, well then let's...
It's confusing when I know too much of the car. No?
Well then let's talk about that, sir. It's going to be quite an interesting run up into that first corner. You've got some really fast cars behind you, some really fast cars in front of you, and of course you're going to put some pressure on them.
Yes, definitely. It's brighter now than last night, and we're going to try and hold together, yeah.
What is it like driving with Andrew beside you? That must be quite nice to have your...
No, he's acting like my teammate. He's trying to be next to me. Yeah, I know. When we put our helmets on, we're racing, so we're good friends otherwise.
All right, cool.
Yeah.
Well, all the best, Sun.
Thank you very much. Thanks.
That's Sun Midley driving in this beautiful machine behind me. And I think he's definitely going to give the guys a little bit of stick today. We're moving down the grid, and Jason, you know, yesterday, podium finish for you in your class. I'm going to ask you about spinning again because I feel like I've asked you about it a lot today.
No more of that. We're going to give that a break. So, yeah, we'll see which way it goes today.
Okay, so you're obviously not starting the race. Marcel's in the car. Tell me a little bit about your strategy.
We're going to let Marcel go out. If a safety car comes in, then we bounce in the pits. If it happens in 5 laps, if it happens in 20 laps, whatever, then we'll just do the change then.
Yeah. It was quite fortunate last night towards the end of the race. There was that safety car, which helped out a lot. Obviously, that's going to be a big advantage if we see it again today.
Well, it just takes one of the cars to get spun off or be in a dangerous position. And there's a safety car and everyone jumps for a free pit stop. And that's the way everyone's going to look at it, I presume.
And obviously today, the racing conditions are a lot different to last night. One, there's light. Two, the track's going to be a lot warmer.
Yeah, it'll be a lot warmer. Look, the night thing, some of these cars have very bright lights. And when they come up behind you, you don't know how far away they are. So you start driving defensive you, and they're like half a kilometre away. So, yeah, it'll be much better during the day. And it should be some good racing.
All right, I'm going to leave you there. I want to grab Michael quickly because, Michael, you had a little bit of a tussle with the wall yesterday because of a tyre, if I'm correct.
Yeah, the wheel actually came loose. As I turned into hanger, the wheel came loose and obviously threw me into a spin. But, what is odd, it happened after 30 minutes. So, it's no wrongdoing of anyone. I think maybe there was something wrong with the actual wheel, like a burr on the wheel. But the mechanics have sorted out and we go racing again today. Obviously unfortunate for the championship, but we'll fight another day. We're starting on the front row. Charles and them are carrying 75 Ks and we're not carrying anything, so hopefully we can put on a show.
All right, I don't want to keep you because I can see the drivers are getting ready. We'll chat soon. That's Michael Stephen. He had a little bit of an issue yesterday with his wheel coming off. I know that the commentators in studio, Stephen and Ernest, who are going to be keeping you company through the whole race, they were a little bit curious to what happened yesterday, and that was the reason. The wheel actually came off a couple of laps in, which was surprisingly not only for Michael quite a surprise, but for you viewers at home and to the guys in studio. So just a little bit of information there. As you look at the grid now currently standing, hopefully we're not going to have any of those issues yet again, but it is SAGT. The sun is shining. It is a beautiful day in Port Elizabeth, so anything can happen as we get underway for round 9. My name is Kriya Gang. Your Ernest Page and Stephen Koenig are waiting for you in studio.
Here we go, ladies and gentlemen, and good morning from Aldo Scribanti, in my case, in Cape Town, and Stephen Koenig joining us in Johannesburg. But as you can see, the grid is packed and ready to go. We got a fantastic-looking GTR as the pace car there in front. Steve, I think that pace car is a little bit faster than the one we had yesterday.
Just a tad, I think. The little Nissan GTR is something interesting to keep an eye on. But hopefully we don't see too much of it during the course of the day, and we'd rather focus on all the racing that's going to happen. Nice to see that they got Michael Stevens' car all sorted. I know one of the things you spoke about is what could have gone wrong. Just finding out that a burr on the wheel was the cause of the issue that put him towards the wall. And as we heard, the guys thoroughly enjoying the whole fair. The crowd coming out in droves to be there and to enjoy the racing and enjoy the fantastic weather as well. As you can see, Michael Stephen getting in the car, as graceful as ever.
Yeah, unfortunately, getting into these cars is not a graceful thing, as we see Mr. Isak Spies over there having the final chat to clock of the course and the officials getting ready to go. This is that moment once the whistle gets blown, everybody rushes off the circuit and the drivers make sure that they are strapped in and ready to go. The McLaren MP4-12 over there looking a little bit better than it did yesterday, parked in the tires the previous round last night. Of course, a night race saw that car in second position crash out because of a loose wheel or a mechanical failure on the wheel, and now sorted that out. But as mentioned, the Peugeot Racing Audi, which was absolutely dominant yesterday through safety cars and through some treacherous conditions, now finds itself running a bit of ballast and a bit more ballast than the rest of the field. So definitely Michael Stephen with the DNF yesterday puts him in a strangely advantageous position here today going into this, the SAGT round 9 in Port Elizabeth.
That's it, and keep an eye on our first place man, Charles Runges and Arnold Neveling, they're looking to try run away. Mo Mia having a bit of fun in Jackson's car. Nice to see that Jackson going and lending the car out to Mo Mia. You're going and changing from an Audi GT4 to an Audi GT3, at least keeping with the brand. But a little bit further up, we've got our Italian Stallion and also the Raging Bull as well. It's going to be interesting to see how it works out, because Dan Angel at this point is in the pound seat for the championship. So he wants to try and maximize every point he can here today for round number 9.
Yeah, Dane Angel has been chipping away, even missing a round due to being on vacation and schedule changes, and now finds himself once again in an advantageous position. And I mean, could this be the moment where he gets an even gets the championship lead through the course of this weekend? It's been interesting because the competitors that he's facing have had all sorts of problems, and he's kind of just chugged along, getting those points, scooping out consistent finishes. And Aranji's Neveling, who have been quite dominant, unfortunately, with a couple of DNFs have put them down in the championship. But it's not over yet. There are dropped rounds that can be calculated in, and it's certainly not over yet as we head into the second half of the season. But it does look so far like Dane Angel is looking very good. We see some frantic activity on the start line there. Of course, we've got Silvio back in his car. You see the yellow Lamborghini all the way at the back of the grid there. And Chalso Scribanti's car also now being driven by him and his teammate as the drivers now get ready to start the first and only processional lap, after which we will go racing.
That's it. I hope you had your coffee, I hope you had your tea, and you've got some popcorn, because you don't want to miss the action, ladies and gentlemen. And it's getting live streamed both on Facebook and on YouTube. We're keeping an eye on the comments there. We're glad to have you guys going and joining us in the virtual side, well, the virtual side, watching the racing down there. But if you are around Port Elizabeth, go watch the racing. It's going to be amazing. But as we pointed out, that Nissan GTR as a pace car, I think it's the only thing they needed to bring out, because you have to put a little bit of pace to get enough heat into the tires, enough heat into the brakes before they go racing. And on such a short circuit of Aldo Scribanti, every little advantage helps.
Yeah, exactly. And it was quite interesting to see that Polo yesterday chugging along at night. I think this one is a much better option. But back to the cars on the grid. The cars that will be racing, that of course is Michael Stephen there in that McLaren in second position. Behind him, Dane Angel. We see the Lamborghinis now starting to come through. Marcel Angel starting us off in that second Angel Ferrari. Then you see Mo Mia in that Audi over there, followed by the two Mercedes-Benz, the 123 car, and of course behind that is San Moodley in the green Mercedes-Benz. Then you see Silvio Scribanti in that yellow Lamborghini, and then the last of the Lamborghinis coming through just behind him, Chalso Scribanti car there teamed up, of course, today. And then we see the Paget Lamborghini back again. I think Aranjis is driving that one for the first couple of laps. We saw him do that yesterday. That would mean that Neveling is starting us off. We're waiting for confirmation on who is starting off in that Neveling Aranjis car. I think Neveling will be starting them off. We saw them get great success with him yesterday. Aranjis even admitting that Neveling has a little bit more pace as we get to the final corner, about to start this race off.
That's it. So I think Neveling's going to be in that car. They've put the quickest driver in to try and run away from Michael Stephen as they make their way around the final corner, leading up to the start line. This is all about, let's see who's sleeping on the line as they get ready to rock and roll for round number 9.
Off they go, rock and roll. They certainly do. Look at that McLaren getting a nice jump over there around the outside. I think he might just have an Angel having a closer look down the inside. The McLaren gets died. Then Angel gets up to second place around the outside. Goes the number 1 Audi, but I don't think it's going to be enough through the S's. Oh, they touch. Looks like there's a little bit of contact there. And I think that Audi might have got the lead back. Yes, he does. The Audi gets the lead back. The McLaren slips it down, and Angel back in third place. And look at that. The number 1 Paget Audi back in the lead.
That's it, but Michael Stevens not giving up. He's constantly putting enough pressure on the back of that Audi, trying to force it to just get a little bit squirrely under brake behind him. Dan Angel also trying to go on the deep end to hold back and take Silvio Scribanti, making his way up through the field. He's charging his way up, looking to try and get into first place. He needs to try and maximize points as he looks to the inside. But Michael Stephen constantly putting pressure, leaning on that inside line, trying to force Neveling to just go off line, forced to lose a bit of grip. As we've seen, the Audi is quite a dominating force here at Aldo Scribante.
Look at that. I cannot believe he managed to get that lead back in that #1 Audi there. Neveling with a fantastic drive there and forces the McLaren back. But look at that. Sylvester Scribante now in 4th place in that yellow Lamborghini. That's the one to watch here today. He had some issues with the clutch yesterday, but now they've seemingly sorted it out. And Sylvester Scribante was our championship leader. I think that certainly would have changed at this stage, but he will be fighting hard to try and get as far up as possible. Watch that top 4, because those guys are very, very closely matched.
The thing you got to keep an eye out for is Dan Angel, now seeing his championship rival right behind him, has to stop going on the attack, now start focusing on the defense, let Michael Stephen go and duke it out. But it looks like Neveling is more than happy to start putting a gap to Michael Stephen. But we got to remember, this is an hour race, ladies and gentlemen, so they've got to try and figure out what they can do when it comes to the pit stops a little bit later. And as we saw last night, anything can happen here at Aldo Scribante.
Oh, yes, indeed. Anything can happen in motorsport, and it usually does, in the words of Murray Walker. There goes the second Fezzer. And that, of course, is Marcel Angel sharing the car with Ibbotson, who had a great race yesterday. Some fantastic defending there from him. So we jokingly spoke about the spinning, but no spin so far today, this weekend, from the Ibbotson Marcel Angel pairing. As there we see the top 4 drivers very closely matched, and Aldo Scribante now starting to come within striking distance over there, it seems. But the top 4 so far making their way around. There goes the Ferrari. There comes San Moodley and Colbert as well. Colbert. We just want to get some clarity on that name. If our producer can just find out if it's Colbert or Colbert. Just want to make sure I get that name right as the rest of the drivers make their way through.
Well, 1st, 2nd, 3rd, 4th and 5th, all sub 1 minute at the moment. But Silvio Scribante putting in his quickest time of a 58.823 on the previous lap, now looking to try and push his way through. He is quicker than Dan Angel, so at the moment Angel is holding him up a little bit, but I think that is a little bit more on purpose. As you can see, in through the corners, just goes and dabs the brakes to slow him down, much like what Neveling's doing at the moment, just going and forcing Michael Stephen to use the brake just a tad more to slow him down, use the exit, and there we go.
Yeah, these guys are all about strategy, and look at that Lamborghini now. Silvio Scribante getting all up close and personal in the mirror of Dane Angel, who, although fast, has shown the ultimate pace that he has in the past. So I'm beginning to wonder how resist the charge. Scribante, of course, the top 5 drivers all in the pro category, and there the Audi goes defensive. The Audi goes defensive on that McLaren over there. I'm giggling here. This is some giddy racing over here. These guys are making it quite exciting for us to watch over here, as these two will be big sideways moment there from the Audi. Big sideways moment from the Audi. He's going to lose a lot of momentum going into Hanger. He goes defensive. Oh, Michael Stephen banked the outside of Hanger. That's what we saw him have a problem yesterday. A fantastic drive there from the Audi. Very robust defending, and there Michael Stephen now finds himself back around the outside with the Ferrari and the Lamborghini right behind.
That's it. One mistake has allowed Michael Stephen to close up on the back of him, but that hard defending has now turned first place into a 4-horse race, and it's all open cards. You can see Neveling just really doing everything to hold back Michael Stephen. Michael Stephen not afraid to drive a GT3 car like a touring car. Dan Angel now looking to get involved, so this is really turning into a monstrous fight, and Silvio Scribante has got first place in his sights. All he has to do is try and get past Angel and Michael Stephen.
He quite literally has first place within his sights. The top 4 drivers each within split seconds of each other. 0.3 the gap to second, 0.3 the gap to third, 0.2 the gap to fourth. And these drivers making sure that they stay within, as you say, striking distance. But look, the gap now, the Audi does seem to have some pace in certain parts of the section, but under braking, that McLaren is just incredible as they now go through the high G left-hander where they will squat through the corners. The driver will bite down through top of the hill towards the last corner, back onto the main straight to complete yet another lap. And the McLaren now still applying the pressure on that Paget Racing Audi R8 V10.
Well, just taking a look at the Audi, there seems to be a little bit of damage to the rear. So that's obviously from a little bit of contact when he was going that very defensive, trying to stop that McLaren. So there is something hanging slightly off the back of that car. But take a look, Dan Angel now just focusing on mimicking Michael Stevens' lines. He knows that if the door opens, if Michael Stevens goes for the move, he'll be able to just follow through. And unfortunately, this is the worst case scenario for the Audi, as one mistake can cost you 3 positions in one fell swoop, because these guys are all mimicking their lines. Silvio Scribanti getting a little bit more aggressive, trying to put a huge amount of pressure. He's actually braking far later than Dan Angel. You can see he just gets his nose in through the corner, just trying everything to get past the Italian stallion.
Yeah, the Italian stallion cruising around in third position there, facing pressure on both ends as the McLaren tries different lines and different ways to make himself visible in the rearview mirror of Ranji's Neverland car in front. And of course, lots of laps done on this circuit by Michael Steven. So he will no doubt be having plenty experience around this circuit, and now having to use all that experience to try and get past Steve. We've only done 7 minutes and it's going like this.
This is proper nose-to-tail racing, and this is absolutely amazing. And just think about it, Arnold Neveling has got championships underneath his belt. He's represented South Africa. He's gone and raced across the water. So has Michael Steven, going and duking it out together. So these guys are really putting on a fantastic show. Then you've got Dan Angel, who's focusing at this point to try and hold the, try climb up through the championship. Scott Silvio right behind him, but at the same time, first place is just out of reach.
Yeah, we just got confirmation now from Kriya in the pits that is Neverland driving their producers also sent through the message to us. That is Ari Neverland going defensive over there. Admittedly, between the team, one of the fastest drivers here on the grid, and we see the 4 fastest drivers. You've got your championship leader in 4th place. You've got your championship contender in 3rd position. You've got Michael Steven, arguably the most decorated driver, in 2nd place, and Ari Neverland, the driver that just came from overseas in the Porsche Cup, in 1st position. Not fighting for the championship, but certainly fighting for that position over there as these guys go nose to tail through the hairpin down the dirt.
That's it, and you can see Scribanti trying to get past Dan Angel, just looking inside, outside, getting a little bit worried, if he's getting held up too much by this little battle. He needs to try and get round. And Michael Steven doesn't look like he's worried about what's in his rearview mirrors. He's got his eyes poised. He's all focused on the Audi ahead, trying to mimic the lines, utilizing that slipstream so he can get the jump. Let Arnold do the work. Let him punch a hole in the air, follow him through, and keep going. But I mean, you look at the gap between them. So far, Michael Steven 0.4 of a second behind. Behind the first place, you've got Dan Angel, who's 0.8 of a second. And Silvio Scribanti is 1.073 from first place. I mean, if you talk about how close they are to first place, it is just, it's within arm's reach.
Oh, there comes, that looks like the Paget Lamborghini just pulling in. He's done for the day. They just were doing the first stint. And I'm still trying to figure out here who is, we just got confirmation that yes, that is Aranji's in the Audi. But we just need to find out if Ari Neverland is... Yeah, so Ari Neverland, I'm getting mixed messages here, unfortunately. We just need to find out who's in that Audi in front as the battle still continues here. And look at that. That does look like that is Charles Aranji's in the Audi. So that is Charles Aranji's in the Audi, getting massive pressure from the guys behind him. Ari Neverland was in fact in the Lamborghini, and that is Charles Aranji's in that Audi in the lead. So Charles Aranji is getting insane pressure from his compatriots here in 2nd, 3rd, 4th place as the top 4 drivers nose to tail through here. And even the times are looking incredible in the 58-second range. These guys are going now 58.7 seconds the best time for the top two, and 58.8 seconds the best time for the bottom two in this four-way battle. And as you rightly pointed out, Steve-O, something is hanging off the back of that lead Audi as the McLaren has a look down the inside and also goes defensive at the same time.
That's it. And just to go and tell you guys, ladies and gentlemen, these cars with low fuel yesterday in qualifying were doing 50. These are fully fueled at the moment, and they're doing 58s here at Aldo Scribante. That shows the talent that these guys have. They've got weight in these cars, and especially for that first place Audi carrying the most amount of weight of 75 kilos. That is like having a passenger in the car, and someone you really don't want to have when you've got Michael Stephen, Dan Angel, and Silvio seeing you down, and knowing that Michael Stephen does not have any weight in his car.
Yeah, exactly. And last year at the Kyalami 9 Hour, we saw Aranjis with some serious pace competing with the international drivers, and this bodes well if we've got four guys now that are running at that pace. How we will do once we start mixing it in with the overseas boys, because obviously that is something that we're looking to do later down the line. And look at these guys having to play chess and not checkers over here to make sure that although they might not be able to get past, they certainly don't want to miss out or lose out on any positions. Further back though, we've got Aldo Scribante about 6 seconds further back. Behind them, leading off the Pro-Am category is Ibbotson and Angel, with Angel behind the wheel. Mo Mia leads off the AM category. We saw him get a solid result. Yes, Andrew Colbert behind that in Pro-Am. Scribante Davidson further back in the Pro class. Stanwood the second, and then Paul Hill, unfortunately not joining us this time. Paul Hill in that Aston Martin was very fast yesterday, and I think we should watch out for him in the SAES race later on that takes place as all these drivers take a bit of a tighter line through the final corner.
It looks like Aranjis are starting to feel the pressure, because dropping a wheel here and there, going and out braking him. That's Andrew talking about some commentators curse, and it looks like the dirt's a little bit.
Yeah, like it. Oh, down the outside goes the McLaren. Down the inside goes the Ferrari. That is Angel. Lots of dust coming up there. Angel had a nice hard inside in the McLaren. So it just shows you, as you pointed out earlier on, Steve-O, as soon as you have a look, the car behind you is going to do the same. As soon as you go blind, the cars behind you are going to take that line. So these guys really have to play that game quite hard. And luckily, some of these cars have got rear view cameras, though, to try and see exactly how close it looks behind them. But that could be a little bit disconcerting, as the Silvio car seems to have fallen off the pack ever so slightly.
I think at that point you're folding your mirrors in, you're turning the screen off, and you just don't want to know what's behind you, because these drivers are really pushing hard. Now they're starting to catch up to a bit of back markers. This is where Dan Angel and everyone's going to have a bit of advantage. But it looks like Dan Angel pulling into the pits. He's first of them.
Yeah, Dane Angel pulls into the pits, a strategic move just 14 minutes into the race. Dane Angel, he's done this before, Steve. We've seen him do this before. We've seen him leapfrog the cars in front, and this could be a masterstroke from Dane Angel, because maybe these guys are just going to be slowing each other up for the duration of this race. Ranji's doing really well there to keep that car in front. Some fantastic defensive driving as he now comes towards one of the Mercedes-Benz cars. That looks like Colbert. This is Colbert over here, I think, in the pits. That was Sun Moodley going through there. And Andrew Colbert currently in the pits getting a tire change. And Sun Moodley, I think, still out there. Sun Moodley just having been overtaken. And the first of the pit stops now taking place. Of course, Dane Angel also in the pits. But things so far look very much the same for the top three drivers without Dane Angel in the mix over there as the McLaren crosses the line in second position.
Dane Angel will return. I do think we haven't seen the last of him duking out for the battle here and catching up to Mo Mia, and you can be sure that Charles Ranjis, who's getting a little bit skittish through the corners with the Audis, because he's saying, get out the way, move, I need you to just not slow me down at all. Michael Stevens trying to box him in.
Oh, Mo Mia moves out of the way, and now Silvio Scribante has a look down the inside of the McLaren. I think he might have it. Silvio Scribante, the McLaren, door to door. And the McLaren, unbelievably, Michael Stephen gets taken by Sylvester Rabanti, the backmarker of Mo Mia, in running his own race, leading the AM category. Rightly so, was racing for himself over there, moved out of the way. But this is the game we're playing on a tight circuit like this. It's so difficult to overtake at the best of times. And now Sylvester Rabanti starting to apply pressure to the leader. Sylvester Rabanti goes around the outside. They make their way towards the first corner. And Michael Stevens still having a look. Sylvester Rabanti gets alongside, hard on the brakes. They touch. The Audi goes through. Sylvia runs wide. We've seen this before. Sylvia with a mirror of what happened a couple of races ago. Touches, runs wide, loses the position, and rejoins further down the order. A disastrous lap for Sylvester Rabanti after a fantastic overtake. And now we see the McLaren in the lead. Look at that, the McLaren snatches the lead. Michael Stephen, after massive disappointment, now finds himself in the lead of this race.
He went and played that to a T, watched the two of them duke it out, go and push each other off the circuit, going and slowing each other up, and decided, there's my gap, stuck his nose in on the inside of the Audi and got past. So let's see what the McLaren can do to get away from Charles Rangi's. If the team of Charles Rangi's, they must be thinking now, maybe is it worth pitting the car a little bit earlier, try and get the leapfrog on it. But he is a little bit slower compared to Michael Stephen. Michael Stephen's really opening up, but that looks like Mo Mia, who's
yeah. Oh, watch out, watch out, watch out. Stay off the power. That's the problem when you try and rejoin like that on the grass with these cars. They're so powerful. It's so easy to try and spin it around, and then you spin it too much with a rear engine setup like that. I myself drove a rear engine car the other day and had a bit of a moment like that. It's so easy with the engine at the back to spin out. So Mo Mia now having to regather his composure there as the 46 Ferrari goes through. That is, of course, Marcel Angel, and into the pits goes Mo Mia.
So deciding that he's going to rather do a pit stop now, just get the car checked out, and looking at the team, jack up. And now it's about the driver getting out the car, have to close the door and then get going once again. But also, one thing I'm taking a look is the mechanics are looking underneath the vehicle, just pulling out whatever rubbish is there and see what's going on.
Yeah, Mo Mia is completely out of the car now. He's not sharing the car, if I'm not mistaken. So he's getting out the car, getting back in as per the regulations, but really taking his time with this pit stop. He was, of course, the leader in the AM category just moments ago. So this could change things, but look at the order now. We've got Michael Stevens leading off in pro category. Arangi's Neveland pairing with Charles Arangi's behind the wheel in second place. Sylvester Rabanti in third place after briefly getting ahead there. Aldous Rabanti in fourth place, Marcel Angel, Jason Ibbotson in fifth, Dane Angel all the way down in sixth. But remember, he's already done his pit stop. Sun Moodley in the AM category now leads AM. And old Sun over there will be very, very happy with that. Dane Angel circulating very fast at the moment. And he's going to try and play catch up now as the rest of the cars make their way around. Michael Stevens crosses the line in first place.
That's it. Looks like Charles Rangi's has backed off a little bit, just to try and focus and recompose himself and then look to go back on the attack. His time is a little bit slower, so what tells me is he's just taking it a bit easy, thinking of the long game at this point, talking with the team and saying, right, what do we need to do to get the jump on this McLaren as he fights his way through. But Michael Stephen has been running a faultless race at this point, some proper battles, and I'm sure that car's got a bit of yellow and white on it that belong to other vehicles, that's for certain.
Yeah, we might want to have a closer look at those paint jobs later on, because as you say, I do suspect these guys will be having some paint swapped as the leaders now make their way past the rest of the field. That is the 78 car of Davidson and Chalso Scribanti there, getting overtaken now by the leader. And no team orders in play at this stage. Look how evenly matched they are down the straight, but under braking, I'm certain that he will get past. And there goes the Mercedes-Benz. That looks like the Colbert Mercedes-Benz, and Colbert, the number 1, 2, 3 car. Yes, it is. And he will now be seeing a bright orange McLaren in his mirrors. And look at the gap there. The gap now between first and second place, up to 3.4 seconds. So the McLaren certainly had some pace underfoot. Looks like it all the while. Looks like the Aranji's car is in the pit lane though. It looks like Charles Aranji's went into the pits the previous lap. It didn't seem ducking, but it does look like that car is in the pits. And there comes Silvio Scribanti in now second position in the yellow Lamborghini. We'll see him come around the corner there, the final corner, as the McLaren makes its way down the main straight.
Silvio Scribanti has done the fastest lap time of the race, that previous lap, and once again is putting in some consistent pace. So he's really pulled the pin now. He wants to try and catch up to Michael Stephen, especially after everything. But he's got a lot of work to get around the back markers at this point. And now that we see the Aranji's Nebling car rejoining the circuit behind Aldo Scribanti, let's see how this is all going to play out. Is Aldo going to hold back that Audi, or is it going to be a little bit more of a hard work further down the line?
And this is exactly it. It's so confusing after the first guy start to pit, because the grid gets shuffled so much. The deck gets shuffled, as I always say. But once the dust settles after the final pit stops, then we'll know for sure exactly who sits where. And that in itself is quite an exciting prospect and quite an exciting component of the racing that we're watching today. As it looks like Silvio is going to duck into the pits. Yes, he does.
But this is what makes it so interesting, and what goes and defines the SAGT. It's the challenges that come from the race. But taking a look, we've got Kriya down in the pits, and it looks like she's got one of the drivers.
Yeah, that looks like Charles Aranji's there. Let's hear what Kriya has to say. Over to you, Kriya. So we're just waiting for Kriya to sort out the tech issues on her side, but she is talking to Aranji's. I would love to hear what Aranji's has to say. As you see the rest of the guys in the pits, wheels up, wheels down. Lamborghini getting ready to go. That, of course, is the Silvio Scribanti car over there. And we're going to wait for him to come out of the pits and rejoin. Michael Stephen still leads us off. Silvio Scribanti in second position according to the standings. But there goes the McLaren now. And Kriya is with Charles Aranji's in the pits. She is ready for us. Kriya, over to you. Yep. So unfortunately, we're not getting audio from Kriya over there. She will be back shortly, I'm sure of that, as the racing continues. There is Sun Moodley in the Mercedes-Benz, crosses the line, and right behind him is one of the Angel Ferraris over there. Of course, currently Dane Angel is sat in 5th place, with Marcel Angel and Ibbotson in 3rd position, yet to pit, looks like it. And that is Dane Angel over there on your screen, crossing the line. And we've got sounds like Kriya's audio is working. We're just waiting for her to come back to us. So there goes your leader into the pits. That is Michael Stephen now ducking into the pits. So he is currently in 1st place. There comes the yellow Lamborghini, Silvio Scribanti, who I think has already come into the pits. So he's the lap down. Michael Stephen still currently in the lead. So this is where everything now starts to come together. This is where everything now starts to settle, and all the cars start to do their pit stop. Pushing hard there is the Kemza Lamborghini, currently way down the order in 6th place, but that will change very shortly. The racing will resume, Steve, as we head into the 25-minute mark, with just 35 minutes of racing to go. Well, it sounds like Kriya is ready for us. Finally, I'd love to hear what's going on. There's so much interesting tea that needs to be spilled. Kriya, are you going to spill the tea on what's happened on the circuit that's now happening in the pits?
I'm definitely going to be spilling all the tea, and I think it's the PE air that's messing with our signal at the moment. And you had us very confused, because we all thought Ari was in the car, and then shocker, it was actually you, but a beautiful stint.
Not so beautiful. No, I was not comfortable in the car this morning. I don't know. It's not my weekend, to be quite honest. My face is not where it should be. So yeah, we decided to come in early. You know, we had a bit of a ding dong with Michael, and then Silvio down into turn 1, and you know, that was just the end for me. I just decided, you know, it's stuff that I'm not gonna do this anymore. So yeah, Ari must now try and get to Michael and Dane. We're just behind them on the track, so hopefully the boy can pull it back. But yeah, I put us in a crappy position in any case.
But I think what was very important about you guys coming in early is you created that knock-on effect, and everyone started coming in after that.
Yeah, look, Dane obviously came in earlier because we started catching the back markers, which was a good idea. But then, yeah, I just started having all sorts of crappy mistakes that I made, to be quite honest. And, you know, I just slowed myself and Michael down so much. So, you know, it's probably the best thing for me not just to jump out of the car. I'll finish the day off, but in any case, it is what it is now, and we'll carry on.
But the nice thing about it is that we've got a bit of a reset. You can take that moment to breathe, regroup, and then we've got another race this afternoon.
Yeah, look, that's exactly what we'll do. Sit down, watch, look at the data. Ari can give me a bit of a hiding on the on the footage, and yeah, we'll carry on from there.
All right, well, all the best for the rest of the race.
Thanks a lot.
Well, there you go, all the interesting information happening here. Shame, I spoke to Charles about it yesterday. He wasn't feeling as confident in the car as he normally does. So you can see it's really playing an effect on his mind, and it's very important in the race. And I'm sure that Arnold will bring that home this afternoon. A good performance from them.
Yeah, we usually see Charles Ranji's quite confident. So at this time, seeing him now not 100% comfortable is not normal. But having said that, it's important for the driver to acknowledge any issues, any mistakes, any sort of shortcomings. He had a couple of moments there in the car, and the fact that he is acknowledging him is a sign of the professionalism that resides in that garage. This is the first step to improvement, and he could have easily blamed.
Well, as you said, it's anything can happen. It's one of those moments, but it's also, you can't beat yourself up too much. You have to go, there was mistakes, I went and made all the mistakes, I've got myself back and going a little bit later. So having that little bit of downtime helps. But as we're taking a look, Silvio Scribanti out on the circuit now, he's pushing as hard as he can to try and make up as much ground as possible to go and charge for that first place, where Aldo is currently sitting at the moment. Then we've got Neveling that's in the car, so no Ranjis, I do apologize. But Neveling, and now on a hard charge, he's trying to make up as much ground as possible. And that Audi is stuck to the circuit like glue. Absolutely faultless driving, but now has to go and pull the pace. He has to average 58s, mid 58s, low 58s to be able to start climbing up through the field. As Dan Angel, his last lap was a 59, Michael Stephen did a 58.9, and Neveling going at just being slightly faster with a 58.8, waiting until he comes across the line, and it's a 58.9. So just trying to keep that consistency up to get closer and closer. But Silvio Scribanti once again putting the fastest lap of the race of a 58.4. So that really shows that he is not hanging around. He wants to make up a bit of ground, and seeing that Audi just ahead of him of Neveling is going to be incredible. I think Silvio's ready for round number 2 against that number 1 Padgett Racing Audi R8 LMS Evo.
Oh my goodness me, the lap times are just tumbling here. 58.4 is exceptionally fast. And as mentioned, Ari Neveling now behind the wheel, dropping the hammer as well. And Silvio Scribanti with that 58.4. There is the black Lamborghini, 2 black Lamborghinis in play today. One of them with the car of Aldo Scribanti, and then of course the other one is with Chalso Scribanti and Davidson, who are now currently in the pits. There goes the Padgett Racing car, currently in 5th position. Aldo Scribanti does lead us off at this stage. Marcel Angel, Ibbotson in 2nd place. And Dane Angel, though, could be your leader of this race. Steve-O, Dane Angel could be the leader of this race. We're going to have to wait and see how this turns out. But I do think Dane could be your leader.
As a net first, I think that first and second, Aldo Scribanti, I think we've saw him just in the pits. Marcel Angel and Jason Everton, we haven't seen them come into the pits yet. So I think Dane Angel may have just pulled the rabbit out of the hat. But let's head down to our reporter down in the pits. Priya, you got some info for us.
I am down in the pits at the moment, and I've got Nick Davidson with me. We're going to move because Aldo Scribanti is coming into the pits at the moment. But I'm going to stand here and get a little bit of info with Nick. Nick, how was that drive?
The drive was very, very exciting. The first lap, I got pushed off onto the dirt, and so we spun around. So they'll put us back a bit, try to push. But then I think a wheel weight or something must have come off. There was a heavy vibration when it was under load on the right turn. So I came in, they jacked the car up, they said it was okay. So we went up, but still quite a vibration on there. And then it wouldn't change gear. So I came in, and Mr. Chelsea has taken it. Hopefully we'll be good.
There's a lot of action happening out there on the track at the moment.
Well, unfortunately, I didn't get to see much because I was trying to catch up. But yeah, it was excellent.
Right, so now exactly what is the strategy going to the end of the race? Obviously, Chelsea's going to bring it home.
Yeah, Chelsea will bring it home, and we'll get ready for the next one this afternoon. Right. And hopefully it'll be a bit better.
Well, all the best for the rest of the race.
Thanks a lot. Thank you.
So I'm going to stay down this side because, as we heard, Aldo Scribanti is on his way into the pits. I don't know how many laps it's going to be, but we are going to prep you so you can see that as well.
Well, it is exciting stuff. Exciting turn of events here. Aldo Scribanti is still out there in first place. We've got a replay coming up now. One of the Mercedes-Benz going off. Happened earlier on as we wait for that replay to come up. Of course, San would be one of the Mercedes drivers, and that looks like Colbert over there. Yes, it is in the 1-2-3 car. Bit of a spin. I think it's the same spot he spun out yesterday, if I'm not mistaken, Steve.
It looks like it, but just going and putting a wheel on the dirt, and unfortunately no traction. Very, very easy to do, and considering they are running these cars right to the edges of the circuit, as we can see, not leaving much room for error, and when it goes wrong, well, it's a good thing that the walls are a little bit far away, because otherwise it's a very, very expensive phone call to any of the manufacturers. But some fantastic racing going on, but knowing that there's a little bit of a problem with Chelsea's car of possibly having the vibration there, that's something that sits in the back of your mind. It always is a niggle, and you start wondering, is it getting worse? You start focusing on it, and you start losing time because you start being a little bit too cautious.
Yeah, the car's not optimal at all. We see the two Ferraris now nose to tail. Marcel Angel in front and Dane Angel coming up behind him now. I doubt he's going to get much protest from this before, and we've seen these guys use team orders before. Of course, father-son pairing over there, unless Ibbetson's behind the wheel. But definitely we've seen these two work together, and they will no doubt be doing the same now as Marcel Angel and Dane Angel starts to make his way up the field. If he gets past the two cars in front, at least the car in front, and then Aldo Scribanti further up the road, that means he will be in first place. But I think that's where he's going to stay. I think the pit stop still needs to happen for this Ferrari over here. So that would mean that that is Marcel Angel. Lets him by. And now Marcel Angel has got the Michael Steven, who is technically second position behind him. And now we're going to wait. This is where things get interesting, Steve. This is where things get interesting.
Well, this is where, as you brought up, team orders can come into play, but these drivers all know each other so well. But if you notice, Dane Angel was carrying a lot more pace into the corner. That tells me immediately that the Marcel Angel and Everton car just came off the throttle a little bit earlier, let him go, have a clean one, just follow the slipstream through. But Michael Steven now going to be on a hard charge to try and catch up to Dane Angel. And you can see how close he actually is to this little battle just ahead of him, as Marcel Angel having the Marcel Angel Jason Ibbetson car having a great ding-dong battle with one of the Scribanti Lamborghinis.
Well, the gap is now 3.2 seconds, and let's see, 2.2 seconds, I apologize. Let's see how that works out. Bit of a late-breaking moment over there, as we see the MP4 getting past. So that was 2.2 seconds just moments ago. As they cross the line, we'll see that gap would have increased. The McLaren has gotten past the other 46 Ferrari, so that will be evident as they cross the line in the next few moments. Is that gap going to be 2.2 seconds or more? Here we go. Dane Angel gets across the line. The gap now is still, 4 seconds the gap. So the gap up to 4.0 seconds. So those back markers there. I've got to say, Dane Angel does seem to have this back marker thing down. He's only got Aldous Scribante in front of him now, who still has to pit. And when he does, we will have a new leader.
Well, that was Marcel Angel that's actually in the car. We got confirmation from Kriya. But you can see Michael Stephen is not hanging around. That McLaren is getting a little bit of a slide into the corners as he's just pushing harder and harder to try and make up as much ground as possible onto the back of Dane Angel. And you can be sure that Dane's getting told, listen, you got to start knuckling down. The guys are catching up to you. They're getting a bit quicker. You need to move. And Michael Stephen did have to work a little bit hard to get past Marcel Angel, and that's evidenced by his last lap time of a 102.9, which is a little bit slower than his outright pace. So it wasn't an easy way to get past a back marker. I'm sure it was more of a you can get past me if you try sort of moment.
Well, the gap now down to 3.9 seconds, not much in it. Both of them running similar time so far. Dane Angel now your new leader, and I think this is pretty much how it's going to stay going forward, Steve. The class has separated substantially. Dane Angel finds himself in the lead. Michael Stephen 4 seconds down. Ibbotson and Angel will soon be pitting, and then Aranji's a further 5 seconds back from that. So Charles Aranji's and Ari Neveling, big losers here at the moment after that not so great first stint. Lots of defensive driving, but it does seem like driving defensive in these conditions with one pit stop in the middle does not seem to work. You want clear air, you want to get that pit stop over with. That's exactly what Marcel, or at least what Dane Angel has done. And we've seen him do it before. We've seen him win like that. Now he's leapfrogged everybody to get to the front of the pack after having hung around at the back of the pack for the first opening laps of this race.
Definitely, and I think the strategist for Dan Angel's team needs to go and go and help out the Formula One team, because they've really got it down packed of how to go and leapfrog the entire grid. But once again, Silvio Scribante putting in the fastest lap of the race. He's down in 5th place, so I don't count him out just as yet, as he's pushing as hard as he can to try and make up the ground. He's lost out in the previous race. He's a little bit further down than what he wanted to be, and he is chasing this car right here. That's Arnold Neveling behind the wheel. And remember, Neveling and the Ranjis are not in it for the championship at the moment. They're not in the top 3, but they still want to stay within that top 10. And like all drivers, they're not going to make it easy for position.
Yeah, that Lamborghini is flying at the moment, man. Flipping out. That Lamborghini is absolutely flying. And we heard earlier on, no ballast for him. Plenty ballast for the Audi up front. And it's so cool to see how closely matched these guys are. Dane Angel, Michael Stephen, Ibbotson, at least Neveling and Scribante all running in the 58-second range. Aldous Scribante in the 59-second range. So not much time in it between the top drivers over here, between the first couple of cars. But there is the car that we're currently watching. That is Silvio Scribante chasing down the Audi. And he is currently in 5th place, chasing down 4th place, man. Of the every single scoop of points will count. And these drivers are going to try and maximize that opportunity as much as they can.
That's it, and it is going to turn into quite a fight, as it looks like the Ranji's car starting to make up a bit of ground and really putting on a charge.
Yeah, Ranji's definitely making up some ground. Now he's on the back of the Angel Ibbotson car, and this should be an easily dispatched car in front. He's about 1.5 seconds faster at this stage with best times. And goes down the inside, gets past, easily done, no resistance there. And Ranjis now makes his way through. But the championship rival for this team is this car over here. So will the Ferrari hold back the Kemsa Lamborghini for just a little bit extra? Every 0.2 of a second counts, every 1/10 of a second counts. So if you can make it a little bit more difficult, and yes, he does. He goes down the inside, lets the Ferrari, lets the Lambo through, but around the outside, lets him go. But he does let him go nonetheless, so fair play to everybody involved.
I'll let you go, but you're going to collect a few marbles on the way. you know, just to give you a helping hand. That's it's being friendly with the elbow out there, and it's definitely put on
Friendly
a bit of a
fire.
show. And I've got to, that's
Friendly
it.
fire.
That's it. It's the only way of saying, listen, I know my son is fighting for the championship, but let's put your Lamborghini to the test. But Silvio on rails at the moment, so fixing that clutch has definitely helped, and he has really gotten comfortable with the car, and it's starting to show. He's chasing after third place ahead of him, and that is Arnold Neveling. He has to try and figure out how can he get past, get into that podium spot to maximize points at this point, while Arnold Neveling is deciding he's just going to go chasing after the McLaren. He wants to put in as much time as possible in the car, make up as much time that was lost with, unfortunately, with the stint of Charles Rangi's.
Yeah, that Lamborghini is definitely looking very, very fast at this stage. There comes the Lamborghini over there of Silvio Scribanti chasing down Rangi's, but someone that has it all to himself at the moment is Dane Angel right up ahead. Decent, solid lap times, but just matching Michael Stephen with the lap times. Both of them doing 59.2s with a gap of 3.4 seconds. Michael has clawed back about half a second over the course of the last couple of laps, but will that be enough with 18 minutes to go? Charlotte Rangi's and Ari Neveling over there, who catches behind the wheel with a 58.6, the fastest lap of his stint so far with a 58.6. That's the fastest they've got in that car. So they also are pushing, but Silvio Scribanti so far with a 58.3 is slowly but surely creeping up on the back of that Audi.
That's it, and keep an eye on it. I think that is going to be the main battle a little bit later, especially as the race starts to tick over. 17 minutes left of the race. Dane Angel kind of just enjoying the drive in free air. Michael Stephen trying to chase him down, 3.1 seconds behind. Charles Rangi's in the pits watching Arnold Neveling, who you can be sure is taking a look in his rearview mirror and just seeing how close Silvio's getting to him. Slowly but surely, I think Silvio has got the red mist all the way down and wants to get past Neveling as quick as possible, and is going to do everything he needs to do, whether it's going to put that Audi on the worst line possible on the circuit. Well, we're going to have to see how he's going to get that third place. But some work getting done, and that looks to be Marcel Angel climbing out of the car.
Yeah. Marcel Angel finally getting out the car, gives the thumbs up to Jason Ibbotson, who now will be hopping in behind the wheel. So a long stint there for Marcel. And Jason Ibbotson now getting the final 16 minutes or so behind the wheel of the 46 car as they do the final checks and sums. And they will be in competition with Andrew Colbert in that 1-2-3 Mercedes-Benz, who has spun out. So they are in the Pro-Am category, and that means that Andrew Colbert will be their direct competitor, and I do think they will get ahead of him. He's currently in 8th position, circulating with a pace of about a 101. So I do think that Angel Car will get that position. But now, look at this. Look at the gap now between Rangi's Neveling and Silvio Scribanti, just 1 second and closing.
That's it. Scribanti hunting down, now has tasted blood in the water. He has been putting in the fastest times of the race, and now it's all about duking it out. He went felt farming a little bit earlier with this exact same car. Different driver, but same car. And that must be sitting in the back of his mind of, listen, I got to get past this. I know that Neveling's in this car. He's not going to make it easy, and I have to ensure that I'm on the inside and not on the outside. But Neveling going and sliding the car out, getting all types of wrong there, and you can be sure that the traction control 2, which goes and works on the slip, started kicking in.
Well, we've got Kriya in the pits now with a little bit more info. Microphone is live. Kriya is ready to go. Kriya, over to you.
Okay, there's lots of action happening down here between mechanics stealing some spotlights and action on the track as well, right, Marcel?
Yeah, look, it was a good stint for us. I think we were pretty consistent, doing minute and a halves, which is what the car is really capable of. So we're very happy at the moment. Yeah.
But you guys are obviously wanting to get another podium. You guys were on the podium last night. It's going to be quite a nice push for you guys to get to the end of the race and the championship.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, the goal is to win the Pro-Am. I think we're leading the Pro-Am at the moment. So if Jason can keep it on the black stuff until the end, we should be okay.
I love how you say that because we know it's always touch and go with Jason sometimes.
Jason's actually very consistent when he gets into the groove. So this is like the first time he's got into the car, I think, after me. So this is going to be like a little baptism of fire for him. So we'll see how he goes. The first 2-3 laps I would imagine will be quite slow. But then if you watch at times, you'll see he'll come back to the kind of times I was doing.
Even though you guys are going for the Pro-Am Championship, you're also helping Dane there a little bit as a bit of a blocker.
Well, I wouldn't say that. I think I was very fair with all the guys that came up to pass me. Coming down the straight, I saw Ari coming, and I was going to go on the inside, but I saw him coming on the inside, so I went quickly back to the outside so he could pass, and I actually waited for him at the end of the straight to let him pass. So I've been as fair as I can. Yeah.
Yes, no, true. Yeah. You definitely have. I just thought I'd see if there was some inside information there, you know.
No. Look. I mean, our races for the Pro-Am. Dane's races for the Pro. I don't even know where Dane is on the track. So
he's sitting first.
Oh, well, that's great news. How much longer to go?
We're 46 minutes into the race.
So 14 minutes to go.
Yeah.
A lot can happen in 14 minutes, so let's see what happens.
Well, all the best for the rest of the race.
Cheers, guys. Thank you very much.
Cheers, guys. Thought I'd get some inside information there, but nope. Dad is playing it safe and racing his own race.
Yeah, that is cool to see though. In all fairness, that was a very, very fair maneuver from him. That was a very, very gentlemanly step-aside maneuver, but he didn't have to make it easy. There were moments where he took the inside line, let him go down the outside, but that's motorsport. I mean, everything was by the book, and it's interesting to see that although they are part of the same team, still by the book. And here comes the on-track battle now with the Audi flashing its lights, trying to get past the back markers. That is, of course, Ari Neveland in third position at the moment behind Michael Stephen and Dane Angel. But the car that he's worried about is your championship contender, Sylvester Scribante, in fourth place, goes down the inside, has a look down the main track. Here comes Sylvester Scribante now. He's getting within striking distance. I suspect we're going to be seeing quite a ding-dong battle now going into the first turn here at Aldo Scribante Raceway. Steve.
Honestly, and taking a look, the Lamborghini hasn't got the horsepower advantage, but if Silvio can just put himself in the right spot, especially getting through the back markers, they will be able to start climbing their way up through it. But Neveling making sure there is no room to go. The back markers deciding they're not going to be part of this fight whatsoever. But Silvio is just hunting him down. The Raging Bull going after the Audi. 580 horsepower versus the Audi R8 LMS Evo, utilizing 620 horsepower, but has got added weight into it.
Yeah, so that is the balance of performance that Steve's talking about over there. That, of course, these cars are basically evened out, and it's all about driver skill and consistency. And the Kemsa car certainly proving to be quite consistent. There goes your second place man, Michael Stephen, getting past Mo Mia over there. And the Audi now coming up behind Mo Mia. The Kemsa car, we've seen him make a mistake into turn one over here. We've seen that these two exact cars touching into turn one, but with a different driver in the Audi though. And you've also seen Sylvester Scribante make that same error going to turn one at the previous round here in Port Elizabeth. So he's going to be quite aware of that as they come up to Mo Mia now. Goes down the inside of Mo Mia. The Lamborghini a little bit too far back. Does the same though. Mo steps aside and lets the two of them go through to battle it out. This, of course, is for championship points. Very precious championship points, and I suspect we're going to be seeing a maneuver come anytime soon. Now he has slowly but surely closed that gap on that Audi as Sylvester Scribante to come through once again to complete another lap. The Pageant Racing car currently in third position.
And as these two are going and pushing each other along, really going for it, Michael Stevens getting closer and closer to them. So now there is a chance that second place is right in hand's reach. Silvio starting to realize this, putting the pressure on, figuring out what can I do to get by. And you can see Neveling just taking those tight inside lines, making sure that there is no room for that Lamborghini to put even a fairing anywhere around.
Even a splitter anywhere. He's not leaving any space at this stage. And Ari certainly is very good with his Polo Cup, Super Cup and GT3 background. Extensive racing from his side. So I think he's going to be quite used to having door-to-door battles at this stage. And look at this, Ranchi is now catching up to Michael Steven. So Michael Stevens lost a little bit of pace there, and we now see Ranjis and Silvius Grabanti slowly but surely edging their way to the back of that McLaren over there. I'm just looking at the times here. Kind of lost my train of thought there. The times there, 59.2 seconds. So Michael Steven lost a second on that lap, and a 3.8 seconds up the road is Dane Angel, still at 3.8 seconds the gap, but now they're catching that McLaren quite quickly, Steve.
Michael Steven going and running consistent 59s has now hurt him, because Neveling and Silvio Scribanti are right on the back of him and going to be filling up those mirrors. Doesn't matter where you're going to look, it's going to be either a beautiful Audi or the Raging Bull charging around you, and this is not what Michael Steven wanted to deal with at this point. He did not want to deal with these two, especially with less than 10 minutes left of the race. He has to go on the extreme defense to hold these two back.
Yeah, extreme defense with, as you say, Steve, 10 minutes left of racing. We now got a three-way battle going into the final 10 minutes. This is going to be an epic charge to the finish line, folks. We saw the first 15 minutes looked exactly like this. The McLaren goes down the outside. The Audi goes down the inside, and there goes Silvio Scribanti trying to sneak around the outside again. That didn't work out the last time. I don't think it's going to work out this time either. But we've got ourselves a three-way battle once again with another backmarker up ahead. That is, oh no, that's not a backmarker. That's your leader. That is Dane Angel up ahead, still 3.8 seconds in the lead.
Dan Angel now starting to get radio messages of saying, go, go, go. You have to put your foot down, because this little battle, which we saw in the beginning of the race, has now come full circle right to the end. And I'm going to ask, who do you think's going to get it?
I think Dane Angel still gets it, 3.8 seconds. Oh, the chip challenge. Dane Angel's definitely going to get it. But if Aranji's Neveling car can get past, I think we're going to see another race to the finish. And that's exactly what he's going to try and do now. The McLaren goes down the middle of the road. We can see the Ferrari in the lead there. There goes the Audi. He's going to probably sneak around the outside. No, he doesn't. Sneaks down the inside. Just not enough. The straight not long enough to make the move stick. But it will come the move at some stage. One of these drivers will make that move with just 7 minutes and 21 seconds to go into this round 9 here of the SAGT Racing Port Elizabeth. The excitement continues here as the drivers now make their way through the infamous hangar where we saw the McLaren go off yesterday. This time makes it through no problems, and there comes the Audi of Ari Neveling having a look down the inside. The Kemsa car now right up on the bumper. It's close, nose to tail, nothing in between these three drivers with first place, still 4 seconds up the road.
You can see Michael Steven getting a little bit skittish as he gets early onto the power, just doing everything he can. He knows he has to give it all he's got to hold back Neveling. Neveling, watching his rearview mirror, you can see constantly just moving out ever so slightly to just go and hold back Silvio Scribanti, giving him no advantage. Now into the slipstream, it's all about who's going to go later on the brakes, and it looks like Michael Steven's going to be just fine with that. Silvio going and getting so close to the back of Arnold Neveling. He's a lot more comfortable going into turn 1 versus the Audi.
Indeed, this is all now played into the hands of the driver in first position over there, with Dane Angel's gap now 4.5 seconds versus 3.8 seconds earlier. So Dane Angel winning out of this tussle here. The three drivers all tussling at big time there as the McLaren gets it squirrely, going through the hairpin down the dip now. And the long sweeping high G left-hander. We see the crowds watching over there. If you guys can hear us, welcome to Port Elizabeth. And here comes the Audi down the outside now, the final turn. This might not work, and there goes the Lamborghini down the inside of that Audi. This could see Silvio Scribanti getting a massive advantage going down the straight. It does. Silvio Scribanti now alongside the Audi. The Audi cannot close the door on him, but will he? Silvio Scribanti goes down the inside over there on the dirt almost. And the door gets closed by Ari Neveling. Around the outside again goes Silvio. Will the see him running wide? No, it doesn't. The Audi gets a bit sideways there. And Aranjis, with a massive defensive prowess over there, closes the door in the most incredible way and finds itself back in that position. And all the while, the McLaren of Michael Steven has to deal with both of these cars trying to get past him in the closing stages of this race.
What I saw is Silvio Scribanti going into turn 1, and then almost like PTSD kicked in, so he just backed it off ever so slightly. but all these drivers not closing the door on one another, they leaning on each other, forcing, squeezing that space to just disappear, hoping that maybe, just maybe, it's going to be enough to try and hold their position. But you can see they nose to tail. You can't even just dab the brakes, otherwise you're going to have all three of these cars going nose to rear fender.
Yeah, the dab of the brakes on the straight, they will be a little bit lighter before they get on the brakes. You know, when they check the brake pressure, that dab will be slightly lighter now. They need all the speed they can get, and here comes the McLaren now with a big white Audi in his rearview mirror, and the same can be said for the Audi with the big yellow Lamborghini in his mirror. They're still going nose to tail. There's only 4 minutes of racing left, and could this be the moment where one of them makes the final lunge? The Audi goes down the inside, the Lambo down the outside. The Lambo getting alongside that Audi so many times, but just not able to get by. It is an incredible display of racecraft from all of these guys. And there is a Ferrari in front. Is that Dane Angel slowing down? Nope, that looks like Marcel Angel and Jason Everton car. They're slowing all the way down. So the Everton car getting out the way, or is there a problem there? He's very, very slow at this stage. And these three drivers still battling it out. We're waiting for Dane Angel to cross the line. If he does, I think he has. Yes, he does. Dane Angel still in the lead there. Michael Stevens still in second place. And Aranjis and Scribanti still behind him.
It's absolutely amazing to see how after nearly an hour these drivers are still giving it everything they got. They're not giving an inch, and they're so close to one another. You can't even fit a Mini Cooper between them when they go into the braking zones. They're trusting each other to every little move. And it looks like the Audi getting a bit squirrely.
Sideways there. Ranjis get big sideways. That was, Arie Neveling gets a big sideways moment into hanger, and that meant that Scribanti could force his way down the inside. He tried to close the door again, but rightly so, Scribanti held the line, and Scribanti takes that position, scoops up a little bit of extra points there, a bit of a robust maneuver, but that was a slight error by Aranjis, or by Neveling there, I apologize, to get it a bit sideways coming out of hanger, something that happens quite easily. He tried to close the door again, but couldn't do so. And look now we've got in the final 2.5 minutes, we've got one of the fastest cars here up behind Michael Steven, your championship contender. Could see himself in second position after having started from the back of the grid in race 1 yesterday. Now finds himself fighting for second place, third secured at this stage. Going into the final 2 minutes of this race, here we go, folks. We have ourselves a race.
This is elbows out racing. There is no way of passing in a gentleman fashion. This is, you've got to go and put your elbows on. Take a look, Neveling late on the brakes, but that looks like Jason Everton's car.
Everton's car, this could be a safety car for the final few moments of this race, ladies and gentlemen. This is not good. Everton is on the circuit. They're going to have to squeeze past him. Dangerous stuff. The Audi goes by again. Aranjis goes past again. I wonder if there was a yellow flag there at that stage, but Aranjis manages to get past Aranjis Neveling car there. That's Neveling behind the wheel, gets past in that debacle over there. We've seen that happen before, and unfortunately Everton slows down in exactly the wrong place, puts Sylvia at a massive disadvantage, and we could see a flag come out now. Was that a yellow flag condition though, or did Charles Aranjis and Arie Neveling's car there with Neveling behind the wheel do a master stroke of driving and slip down the inside of that little tussle over there? Unbelievable stuff so far into the final stages of the race, and still the action continues with the Lamborghini not giving up, not at all.
I think that must have been a bit of a slow moment. Yellow flag is out.
Oh my goodness me, there's total chaos going on. There's total chaos going on. Now Silvestre Scribanti, sorry about that, Steve. Silvestre Scribanti finds himself in the front there. The other Ferrari also slowing down. Is that Dane Angel slowing down as well? Will Silvestre Scribanti take the win here? We don't see any flags out. This is an unbelievable turn of events. Silvestre Scribanti slows down. Dane Angel and Marcel Angel's car with Everton behind the wheel have seemingly run out of fuel in the final stages of this race. Silvestre Scribanti will get past, and that was not a flag. Silvestre Scribanti will lead this race. Arie Neveling and Aranji's car will be in second place. Michael Steven will be in third place. This has turned out to be quite the catastrophic end for some, but the dramatic end for others, and a triumphant win for Silvestre Scribanti. If he can take the car across the finish line.
What I'm amazed is the drivers had to thread their cars through a needle in that total chaos of working their way through back markers, working through Dane Angel, who is stranded. Marcel and Jason Evanson's car stranded just up ahead, but that is definitely yellow flags. You can't pass there, and the guys are just circulating, waiting for the checkered flag to come out. But I think Silvio Scribanti has stolen the victory.
The flag is out, Steve. The flag is out. The confusion continues as Silvio Scribanti takes the win. He will be punching the air from inside that car. A fantastic turn of events for Team Scribanti there. Silvio Scribanti, after starting on the back of the grid yesterday, finds himself the winner of this race, and his biggest championship rival, Dane Angel, all the way down in fifth after having led this race, and a strategic faux pas from the guys at the Angel camp, both cars being fueled too light, and there will be fingers waved in the pit lane, no doubt, as the Angel cars both retire, and they will get classified, however, as per the rules. It looks like it, but Dane Angel all the way down in fifth place now. Aldous Scribanti gets fourth, Michael Steven gets third, Aranchi the Neveling gets seventh place, and there, folks, is your winner, Silvio Scribanti, triumphant in the Kemza Lamborghini. I cannot believe this, Steve. I'm sure you can't either. What the heck just happened?
I would love to give you an answer of what happened, but I have no idea. That was just a change-up. And just taking a look, guys didn't walk away without any battle scars, because I take a look at Silvio Scribanti's car. On the left-hand rear, you can see there's a slight little bit of damage. I think that's from a little bit of robust contact that we had earlier. But a couple of the guys are going to be scratching their heads of what on earth just happened. But Silvio Scribanti going and stealing the victory is going to be through the moon about that. Arnold Neveling and Charles Arangis, they had a fantastic drive out there, but second place for the Pro and also second place overall, with Michael Steven in third place of Pro and third place overall. But the battle was raging on for so long, something had to give. And the last person that we thought would have a problem was Dane Angel, who mixed up the entire grid.
Jeez Louise, I cannot believe this just went down. I do suspect, however, that there will be a few things said in the pit lane afterwards, and we're of course going to try and bring you all that drama later on once we get updates, because I'm pretty sure there might be some protests happening here. Were the yellow flags out when those overtakes happened? We're going to have to wait and see. Were those cars running out of fuel earlier on? We're going to have to wait and see that as well. But look at that, those two stranded cars, the race over, and an incredibly dramatic turn of events for Dane Angel and Marcel Angel. The cars literally within sight of each other, so they've run out of fuel at pretty much exactly the same place. Dane Angel sat down there, and here is the replay now. Oh, the Audi gets sideways, and look at Silvio Scribanti now, takes the inside line, places the car next to him, gets on the dirt ever so slightly, but I mean, that's as legal as it gets right there, Steve. And now we look ahead, and we should see a Ferrari slowing down. I think that's the next lap where the Ferrari slows down. I hope we can get that replay as well. Hopefully we can see that as well, of that Ferrari slowing down and then getting in the way. We see the guys embracing there in the weighbridge section. Steve, you were saying?
I think that's where the contact was. Just looking at how it all worked out. Silvio going and diving on the inside, going out a little bit wide, just touching the front end of Arnold Neveling. And I think that's where, with a little bit of bodywork damage, may have happened. But my heavens, just drama all around. But as you said, was the yellow flags out? For anyone at home that isn't aware, yellow flags come out. That means that sector you are not allowed to overtake. You have to wait until the green flag. So if the yellow flag comes on turn 1, you have to wait till turn 2 to be able to pass. You have to get past the incident. And oh my heavens, this is absolutely bizarre. But take a look. The sideways action from Neveling, and you can see on the inside, Silvio diving in, has the door closed on him, goes out a little bit wide, touches the grass, and there what looks to be the contact. Yep, going and trading paint as they head towards the apex.
I'd still like to see the overtake maneuver later on. We had this same camera angle where we saw the first Ferrari slowing down, and once he slowed down, the other drivers were able to thread their way past. but I'm not quite sure how exactly that played out. I'd love to get a closer look at that and see exactly what happened over there.
Well, the
Just
two
incredible.
Italian stallions. The two
What was
Italian
that, Steve?
stallions parked off. There's one thing. This is where the concern is. Why did they run out of fuel? Was it because they were going too fast and they went and used over their average consumption? Was there some sort of failing? This is where the drivers and teams are going to go back. They're going to talk. They're going to sit down and try and figure out what exactly has gone on. And a lot of people might think there's a built-up frustration. They're going to get cross with one another. These drivers and teams are so professional. They'll go, look, it happened. They'll have a sit down, a bit of a debrief, maybe have a salmi or two, and then go and sort out. But yeah, a bit gutting for Dane Angel, I won't lie. And Jason, who just climbed in the car, didn't have too much time in the number 46 Ferrari before it came to a halt as well.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, they were so close to each other. Dane Angel, of course, in the 51 Ferrari, that is Ibbotson in the 46 over there. But these guys were so closely matched when it came to fuel loads over here. Ibbotson, quite disappointing for him, I'm sure. He's had a great weekend so far. But we watched the disappointment of Dane Angel as he sits down, holding his hand in his face, gives his teammate the thumbs up over there. He's okay, but of course, that could be the end of his championship right there in this moment. And that's always disappointing when you can pinpoint where your championship was won or lost. In this case, lost. But man, what a disappointing turn of events for Team Angel after strategically they were so good and have been quite good strategically over the months, over the season, but now find themselves in a position where they're just not able to capitalize on what was a very advantageous position for them coming into this. Very disappointing elation for Silvio Scribanti, of course, but ultimate disappointment for Team Angel. Wow, what a turn of events.
All I can say is I'm thankful I'm not in that steward's box trying to figure out who passed under what. It's going to be close. And Silvio had to back out of going for an overtaking maneuver because he saw the number 46 Autohouse Angel car slowing up. He backed out of it. Then all the tussle happened, and yet he got the run up to get first place soon as Dane Angel slowed down, literally within the same corner. So that tells me there had to be a yellow flag in that sector. There's no possible way, but did he get first place before entering the yellow zone or after? That is where you've got to take a look. And these cars do have built-in cameras so they can see. They take all that footage. The drivers go and give their perspective as well to the COC and the stewards. So there's going to be discussions, but I don't think that it is going to be a slugfest, but I think it's going to be a bit of an interesting conversation. And how can they work around these things? We have to be very, very consistent with it.
So we've just got confirmation now that we're about 15 minutes away from the podium ceremony, simply because we need to figure out exactly what has happened with those yellow flags, and investigation is underway. And we will now hopefully, we're just waiting for that confirmation. I'm hoping our producers can get us some more replays. I'd love to see those overtakes happening, and then we can try and get a closer look and see if we can figure that out. But wow, amazing turn of events. But for those of you guys that are at the event, you don't have to sit and wait around. You can go check out the concerts that are happening at the moment. There's plenty action happening over there in the pit lane area in the back of the circuit. We've got, of course, multiple acts for you guys over there to go check it out. We are, of course, going to wrap it up on our side pretty shortly, and just waiting for our producers to confirm, because the prize giving will only happen later on. So the prize giving will happen in 15 minutes time. But we will for now be saying goodbye until then. Steve, any closing words from you? I mean, that was just an incredible, incredible race.
I've got to find my seat because I stood up, I launched it, and I think it's landed in another room. So while they go and pick up the Ferraris, let me go find my chair because I jumped out of that during the race.
Well, there goes the course car, and as you say, the 46 car, that is Ibbetson's car getting towed away. The 51 car will be next. But folks, this isn't over yet. We've got plenty racing to come as the day continues. The streaming links of course, the times will be SAGT round 8 will happen at 5 o'clock. Then, of course, we've got yesterday was round 8 at 5 o'clock. Today was round 9 at 9:15. Round 10 happens at 12:45, so that'll be in about 2 hours' time. And then, of course, the SAE happens at about 3:30. That's a 6-hour race that is split in two. So plenty action to come today. The action now will continue off the circuit without us. But for those of you guys that are in attendance, please go check out the concert. There are plenty music acts over there. DJ Zane is in the house. And of course, good luck as well as Jesse Clegg and lots of other things to do. There's a beer garden. There's so many other things to do at this festival here at Port Elizabeth Aldous Krabanti Raceway. My name is Ernest Page, joined by Stephen Koenig and, of course, Kriya Gangia in the pits, getting us all the interesting information from behind the scenes. We will catch you guys later on. Stay tuned on the stream, though, for the prize giving, and Kriya Gangia will be joining us in about 15 minutes or so once the dispute has been sorted out. I am very interested to see how that turns out. And once again, from myself and Steve Koenig, we'll see you guys later on for the next round at about 12:45, where SAGT heads back to the circuit for even more, if you can believe it, action that like we've just seen. Unbelievable stuff. I'm still kind of blown away. We'll see you guys later. Till then, goodbye.
the race where the two Order House Angel cars pulled over. There was a yellow flag that was issued by the marshals, and that is what changes our results today. So the overtaking that happened under the yellow flag was under investigation, and because of that, we now have our podium finishes. So that was a little bit of our caveat that happened. But I think it is time now to get into the exciting part of the afternoon, and that is our very first podium for round 9 of SAGT. And we're going to start with our pro category. So, ladies and gentlemen that are currently here at Aldous Raceway in Port Elizabeth, please put your hands together for our third place finishers, Shia Arangis and Arnold Lewin. Our second place finisher, Sophia Scolanti. And a stunning drive for him this whole afternoon. Ladies and gentlemen, please put your hands together for your winner, Michael Spearman, and the team Ultimate Applause. Ladies and gentlemen, your podium finishers for the pro category.
And just trying to stay in front. Unfortunately, the yellow flag into turn 6 and allowed behind it this year. So we'll take it and hopefully come back next year for another one. Maybe a bit more than we have 75 k's in the car, but we'll get out in 10%.
The tyre seems to be giving you a bit of a problem this weekend. You're having tyre drama.
Yeah, it's just getting it right, getting 5% right. When we come in, we're coming to the beginning of the race, end of the race. And pretending to play with all as well. So we'll make some fine tuning for the next race and hopefully occasionally for the whole 60 minutes.
Well, best of luck for the next round.
Thank you.
That is Michael Stephen, your winner from the pro category. Alright, our next podium is Pro Am and our two drivers competing in this category in the same car. Ladies and gentlemen, please put your hands together for Jason Button and Marcel Angel from Order House Angel. I think Jason is missing in action because someone left him out on track with no petrol, so they've gone to pick him up. Taking the Pro Am category. And then the Am category. Ladies and gentlemen, please put your hands together for third place, Monia. Coming into second place, Mr. Sam Ridley. And after a small hiatus from racing, it is great to see this man on top of the podium. Ladies and gentlemen, please put your hands together for Andrew Gruber. congratulations to all our drivers in SAGT. But remember that this is not the only race that we have today. We still have another SAGT race coming up this afternoon, and then SAE this evening. So make sure you stick around. If you are in the PG area, please do come through and join us. We've got DJ Zane on the decks, we've got Jesse Good, and we've got Good Luck happening this afternoon. So make sure that you come and join us. We've got Beer Gardens, we've got Kitty's areas, and we've got so much action waiting for you here at Alice Cabanti Raceday. We'll see you for the next race in the next couple of minutes.